Did anyone catch on the latest Time Crisis that Ezra was like, "Oh, I almost had 11 songs. I was gonna put New York Hospital on there," and then they just breezed right by that. There was no other comment, and I was like, "Hello, what is that?" No one knows.
We gotta get a live New York Hospital at some point.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Only Pod. I'm joined by two esteemed guests today, Holly McLaren, aka TCU Wiki, and hello, and Alexander Goodwin, aka Tasteful Palette.
What's up?
Both recent Time Crisis guests.
Yeah, that was my big moment. Me and all the other fans, Alex. It was a good time. It was cool to be there.
It's all downhill from here.
Right? Yeah, I know. The rest of the week has been, like that meme of like the guy in the corner at a party, and he's like, they don't know that I, I'm like, it's all because I was hanging out with the Crisis crew, and no one in my real life knows that I'm famous and a very select fandom on the internet. So
I actually did because I have Tasteful Palette on my LinkedIn page. I actually did update my LinkedIn to reflect my appearance on the show. And nobody's gonna look into that, but definitely makes it seem more legitimate.
I have the wiki on my LinkedIn. I was like, oh, I should add that, and I just haven't done it yet. But I love that I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Have you made a page for yourself yet?
Oh, on the wiki? Well, so if you have like an account, if you're a user, like you have a user page already. So whenever they've referenced like me on the show, which they've done one other time in the past, it was like the Chuck E. Cheese episode, because I wrote them a big email about Chuck E. Cheese, and so they said my name on like in that episode, so I just linked to my user page, because then you can see like all of the edits that I have done in there. So
very nice. Yeah. Do you have any editors helping you out much?
There's one person who was kind of updating the like episode guide like about a year ago, because I wasn't working on the wiki at that time, but they haven't been active. Like really it's sort of a solo project, which is kind of like maybe counterintuitive to like how wikis usually work, but when I started it, and for the vast majority of the time, like it's just been me, and every now and then someone will add a little bit of something. I have had people like ask, if you need help, like I have this information, but I don't know, I'm not sure, like, because it's been such a solo project, and all of the accounts are sort of like tied to me as a person as well, so I haven't like quite fallen down on one side of the fence or the other as to whether or not I need/want help, but I do appreciate everyone's offers. But I've been chugging along for this long, so we'll see, I guess.
What did they ask you about on Time Crisis? I'm sorry, I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh, it was just like how I got started doing it, or why I started. And for everyone else who hasn't listened to that bit, essentially I just got into the show in 2018, and on the subreddit it was like every day someone's asking a question about like, what episode is this joke from, and people were like, well, I think it might be this one, or oh, I just heard this one recently, or whatever, and I was like, there really needs to be a wiki for this show, and someone else had kind of started one, but they hadn't worked on it for a while, and it wasn't like fleshed out at all. So I like DM'd them, and I was like, can I just take this over? And they were like, oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not working on this. So,
nice.
So that was, December 2018 was when I started working on it. And, it's been great. I did take a bit of a big break there for like a few years, but everyone's got stuff going on, and so they announced the new album, and I was like, all right, this is my time. I'd been wanting to get into it. I was just like, I don't know, but I was like, oh, I got to now.
I felt pretty much the same way. I took a lot of time off, and then the album was so I feel like it was so quickly announced and then out. It's been a mad run.
Oh yeah, Absolutely.
For sure. No, and I'm same, but I mean, I kind of, being like somebody that's like doing merch, COVID hits and like nobody wants to buy anything. Like, I get it, believe me. Like, I was looking back through my old posts, and it's like literally the day that I launched the like the collegiate design with Jake's face was like the day that lockdown kind of started for everybody. It's like, oh, that could not have been like worse timing. And it's funny because my boss is actually a TC/VW head. Shout out Steven if you're listening.
Shout out.
But he like actually talked to me about Tasteful Palette and like VW like in my interview when he hired me. But so he had like been kind of like encouraging me. He's like, hey, like you should really start it back up when they release new music. And then they started releasing new music, and I was like, I don't know, I probably should.
Yeah.
And like it's been so great to kind of be back in the VW sphere as like a larger part of my life than it has been the past 3 years for sure.
I feel like the community kind of got its start during the COVID thing when all the shows got canceled and there was extra time crisis and stuff. And it's nice that now it's like we're doing it in person.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, COVID for sure was like, they were doing Time Crisis like every week, which was crazy. But I had nothing else to do, so that was keeping me busy. And then I was able to catch up. Like there was episodes that I hadn't like made pages for. So I got all caught up, and then I stopped working on it for a few years. So now there's like several episodes that I haven't even heard. There's maybe like 40 or 50, but we're getting there. We're there's like two whole seasons, like seasons 8 and 9. I have not heard at all. So
I have the misfortune of being caught up. And so I've been going through. I started back at like episode 35 because like everybody kind of agrees that's when it gets good.
Yeah.
And it was funny. Like, first of all, it's funny, like, just seeing how much Ezra has, like, mellowed out in the past, like, few years, whatever, I guess 4 years. No, sorry, 7 years, I think. It's crazy to think, too, that we're coming up on, this many years of TC. Like, that's wild to me.
Yeah, it's 9 years in July.
In July, yeah.
Which is crazy.
We're gonna. The TC 10 years merch drop is gonna be
strong.
Crazy.
So I'm already thinking about it because I had a weird thing. I was thinking about this last night because this is season 10 that they're doing right now, and I was like, how can they have 10 seasons? But it's only we're not even at the 9-year mark yet, and I had to like do that math, and it's because they started in the summer of 2015, so season 1 is like half of a real season,
right?
So I'm like, okay, I guess.
But no, it was funny because they were the episode that I listened to most recently. I believe it's like a weird like kind of group of synchronicities, but I think it was the episode with Jonathan Wolf who's the Seinfeld composer, the theme composer, and I believe that was the episode that was like Ezra's birthday episode 7 years ago, which was like a funny like I'm listening to like the kind of 7 years ago today type vibe. And then also he's talking about working with Larry David, and Curb has just ended, and there was a post that HBO or like a Curb clip account on Instagram made where Jonathan Wolf had like commented about like Larry David, like he like has no social skills and like put us in weird situations, but like that was part of the fun of working with him. And it was so funny seeing that because I had just listened to the TC where he had said like the exact same thing 7 years ago.
That's funny.
It's like some weird like TC resonance. I don't know. Just 7 years ahead of the curve, I guess.
Right. I mean, they predicted the Eclipse show and the no repeats Madison Square Garden shows. And
8-minute Cape Cod.
Right.
Can't forget
that. And now it's just they're gonna triple in length every time we get a new
slowly
Cape Cod.
approaching 45-minute Cape Cod.
Yeah. It's gonna be 80-minute
Shout out
Cape
from the
Cod.
freezer.
Yeah.
Eventually, they'll start a Cape Cod they can't finish.
Yeah, I was thinking, someone made a comment and they were like, "Oops, all Cape Cod, like, coming to Red Rocks 2034." And I was thinking, they could open with Cape Cod and then just like jam into every, next song. And if they just don't stop and then they come back to Cape Cod at the end,
it's still a Cape Cod.
Is it still all? I think technically you could count that as all one Cape Cod.
All
you
Cape
could have
Cod,
like a 2.5 hour Cape Cod.
I agree with that. That brings me to the most important question I have to ask you both, though.
Mm-hmm.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
No.
So
short answers.
There's some like hot and questionable takes that I have about this. So there's some, it's like, there's a website, it's called like the Cube Rule or something, and it's very silly, and I don't necessarily believe all of it, but it's depending on how many sides of like starch or bread that you have on a food, like that depends, like what type of food it is. So according to the Cube Rule, a hot dog is a taco.
So, in a more VW adjacent type deal, is a lobster roll a sandwich?
I don't know if I'm actually all that familiar with what a lobster roll is. Like, what how is it shaped? What's the construction?
Kind of like a hot dog, but it's not filled with a single. It's chunks of lobster meat rather than
Okay,
one.
but the bread is like, it's maybe like a piece of bread that you've sliced, but not all the way into two pieces. So.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I
So
would
is
say
that
that's
a taco.
Yeah.
Okay. You heard it here first.
You heard it here.
Lobster roll is a taco. Yeah.
I'm glad we got that settled.
Yes. Yeah, always default to Cube Rule. It'll make all of your friends angry at you, but you can point to a source online and say, listen, it's not just me saying this. This is true.
Yeah.
Scientifically proven.
So is Ogwow hitting you guys differently after the show? Because it is for me.
Yes. I hadn't really had that much time with it. I mean, I know it came out like on a Friday and the Eclipse shows on a Monday, so it's not like a whole lot of time, but I listened to it I think Saturday morning, and then that was the only time that I'd really like listened to the whole thing all the way through. I had been like out of town and I was like so behind. There was like 2 Vampire Campfires I hadn't listened to. I hadn't listened to the last episode of this show. I hadn't listened to like the most recent Time Crisis. I was behind. So yeah, I was like, I have to listen to this album before I meet all these other fans, because they're gonna ask me about the album and I'm not gonna know. So I listened to it and I was like, wow, this is amazing. But I hadn't listened to it all the way through until after the show again. So with like a week of listening, I mean, it's amazing. Like, I mean, like everyone else has said, it's amazing. I think it might be their best album.
Nice.
For me.
Yeah. So I actually, so you didn't listen to DC, but or you have not yet. But I live with 2 of my buddies, and I used to live with but 2 of them switched places. So one of them does not live here anymore, and the record player that is at my house, that has been at my house, is his. He just hasn't come and picked it up yet. So my friend that took his place in our house was putting on, I think, like a Metallica record or something, and broke the needle.
How?
So I was like, I'm so excited to listen. Oh boy, can't wait to listen to my new Vampire Weekend album tomorrow. And I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh wait, I can't, because we don't have a record player because the needle is broken. I'm like, well, that's not my record player anyway. Like, it's getting gone as soon as my buddy comes and picks it up. So, like, we're gonna need a new record player. So I just, like, my album was supposed to get to my house Thursday afternoon. So Thursday morning, I went to Best Buy. I bought a record player. Just so I could listen. Yeah, just like a new turntable, just so I could listen to the album.
Not just the needle. You got a brand new turntable. Yeah. All right. I respect it.
So I got to listen like one time all the way through before before it came out on streaming and everything. And then Friday, I was on the road like that morning pretty much, on my way headed towards Austin. And I listened to it, I think 4 or 5 times in the car, just back to back, and I just could not believe how good it was. And like, I'm like, okay, I need to check myself here. And I had been doing, like, up to that point, like, I had done like a full discography, like re-listen a couple times through, and I just like, it was so good. I was like, I have to like make sure, like, hey, is this just recency bias, or like, is it really this good? And I went back and listened to the first 3 albums again, and I was like, wow, this is like actually ridiculous how good this is.
It's really
and
that
then,
good.
Yeah.
I drove the rest of the way to Austin with my cousin, and I was just like, okay, no agua in the car. Like, we're saving, we're having a fresh ears for the show, and then listening to it again on the way back, it definitely hit harder. Like, having seen some of it in person, and also just having more time to like think on the lyrics I'd already heard. And one of the things that I kind of talked to, because I have like a weird, through no doing of my own, like I haven't converted any of these people, but I do have like a weirdly high number of VW heads in my life. And so I was talking with my boss about this, and then later with my sister-in-law's sister about this, who's a VW head. She had purposely avoided listening to any of the singles so that she could listen to the whole album all the way through, fresh ears, like not having heard anything. And I was like, I think you made the right move.
Yeah.
I don't have that much self-restraint to do
No.
that,
Yeah,
even
I don't
if I
either.
wanted to.
I don't either. And I was talking to my boss, and he like expressed that like he wished he had done that. You know, that he's like, I wish I didn't like have like fatigue with the singles. You know,
Oh, interesting.
because just listening to it all the way through, like all the way through, it is all killer, no filler. I mean,
I agree.
For
I
sure.
think
people are like,
it-
oh, like the surfer, like, but also that's still a fantastic song.
Yeah, I think, because I really liked the singles when they came out, but they weren't like, I wasn't listening to them and thinking like, oh, this is going to be my new favorite song. I don't tend to like the singles, they're not usually my favorites on the albums anyways. So that wasn't like, oh, what's wrong with me that I don't like these. Like,
Right.
I liked them, but listening all the way through, it put the singles like in context a bit more, and I think I enjoy them more now because I know like how they all fit together, and it sort of tells maybe more of a story than some of the other albums do. Like the singles, even if there's like themes that appear in each song, I feel like for Agua it's more of like a single entity that it just has like chapters or something.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it's amazing. I gotta frame the poster
Yeah.
because it looks really cool. I think I'm gonna hang up the photo side, even though Ezra was like, controversially, I'm gonna hang up the lyric side. It is a cool side as well, but I don't know. I'm like, having the big picture would be cool.
I might hang up both sides. I got enough of them.
Yeah, there you go.
You doubled up.
I got. You can see 2 in the background of my video.
Oh,
but
yeah.
There's more
Oh,
than
yeah.
that. And there's
Best of
2,
both worlds.
2 more coming today.
Good dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I felt like kind of apprehensive just getting the CD set to get the T-shirt, but
Yeah.
like I actually have used the CD because like my car's old enough. I actually have a CD player,
Same.
and it's so nice. Like just listening to it on CD. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something about it. Like I truly like I have always rode hard for Modern Vampires as their best album, but
Yeah, same.
and I really loved Father of the Bride too when it came out, and I still love it. But like getting into this like release cycle, I've really had to like reevaluate kind of like my ranking. And it's like, I didn't give Contra nearly enough credit. Like that album is crazy, you know?
I've been listening to the CD in my car on repeat, and it takes me back to summer 2013 when I was doing the same thing with Modern Vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to have a CD player. The CD quality is really good, and then just being inside a car, it's just the perfect acoustic environment.
Yeah. It all just echoes right back onto you.
Surfer
much.
hits really hard in the car.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
We love physical media.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, big proponent of physical media because, even if you buy a digital copy or whatever, you're technically not buying the files. You're like buying a license.
The right to listen to them.
Yes, the right to listen to it, so they could just be like, yoink, anytime they want. Not so fun fact for you guys.
we're
buy the CD. Yeah.
Pro digital ownership on this podcast. Read the EULA.
Yeah. Did you guys have a favorite piece that they played at the Eclipse show, or song or whatever? Like, did you have a favorite moment in the show?
I don't know if I can. That's a great question. I don't know if I can pick one. I gotta get my cat out of here. He's gonna mess up the recording. Come on, bud.
Well, I'll say mine was the extended Flower Moon as the sun was being eclipsed, and so it was getting darker, and then they kind of went into a minor key or spooky vibe to it, and just the lyrics were now's the time to disappear, and it was getting all dark. I just thought that was such an awesome moment to just you have this song already, and now you've paired it with this event, and it works so well.
Yeah,
and, they timed that amazingly. That was my favorite bit. Second favorite was Cocaine Cowboys. That was insane and goofy and so much fun.
Yeah, I feel like Flower Moon, it never hit super hard live on the last tour, but this one was amazing.
I like that one. That's probably in my top favorite songs from Father of the Bride. So
Same.
I always enjoy that one live. Even maybe it's not their quote unquote best live song, but I just it's a fun one.
Yeah, I'm not trying to knock it from before. I just like
when
they do interesting stuff, and this was definitely fun. I feel the recording. For people who weren't there, I'm sorry to tell you, the minor key part, the spooky part, hit so much harder than it did on the recording.
Yeah,
I haven't listened back
so
yet.
loud.
It was wild to be there in person, as it's getting darker.
Yeah,
and everybody's it's funny because usually you go to a concert, you look at the stage, and everybody's just turned around, not facing the stage, looking up at the sun. Just a very weird experience, but so cool.
Yeah, I wonder if that was in any way disorienting for the band. Even if you're obviously people are looking at the sun, that's fine. We want them to do that. But if it was still kind of weird to see everyone with their back turned. There was one point where everyone around me was facing away from the stage and looking at the eclipse, and I was the only one still looking at the stage. And I was this is kind of strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could pick one moment because from the beginning opening the show with Ice Cream Piano,
Strong.
already sick.
Yeah.
You're okay, I've heard those on the record, this goes awesome. But that energy, right off the bat, it's okay, we're back. Vampire Weekend is back.
Yeah.
And then Connect too, hearing Connect live, wild.
Incredible. Yeah.
Incredible. But
the first time ever played live for each of those songs.
The first time ever played live. Scofflower, another highlight.
Yes.
But Cocaine Cowboys was a funny thing because when we got to Austin on Saturday, or we got into Austin, stayed outside Austin, but we got into Austin on I guess Sunday. The first thing we did was went to a record store, and I found an original pressing of the Flying Burrito Brothers 1969 album, Gilded Palace of Sin, which was super sick. And I had that had been on my want list for a while because my one of my buddies that I live with now, he has been he showed me them and has been super into them for a long time, and that is a fantastic album. And so I got that on Sunday, and then they play Sin City in Cocaine Cowboys. I was what? Because Like that's a very like deep kind of reference. I don't know, like not everybody's like super into the Burrito Brothers. Like that was so wild to hear live.
I think I've heard the band's name before, but I didn't really know anything about the group or who they are until I was looking up afterward, like what songs they had played in the Cocaine Cowboys medley. So I mean that's kind of like a crazy coincidence for you.
That was like another like super weird like full circle thing for me that's happened recently. But so that was great. And then I will say, like, that was the best, like, highest energy, both A-Punk and Walcott I've ever gotten.
They were good.
Like, that was top notch.
Yeah. The vibes in the pit were strong for both.
Yeah. Vibes on the lawn were strong. Were the vibes in the seats strong, Holly?
Yeah, well, so I was in the first row of seats, like, right behind the pit, so I was, like, you know, you could say maybe honorary pit, because I was basically, like, leaning on the barrier, just at the back of the pit the whole time. I probably could have, I walked in there at one point, because when they were scanning tickets, they gave me, like, both wristbands, because I had, like, a special pass or whatever, and they're like, we don't know which one you need, so just have both of them. So
awesome.
Before the show, I did kind of, like, walk into the pit, and I was just, like, giving people the little cards that I made. But I was like, you know what? There's a lot of really tall people in here, and I think I'm the like barrier or something. Like the pit was like one step lower than where my seat was. So I was like, I think I'm gonna hang out. But I mean, yeah, it was still good. I'm sure I did turn around at one point, and like the whole place was like jumping.
Nice.
So yeah, I think no matter where you were, you had a good time.
Yeah, the energy, especially on like A-Punk, was insane. Like, and it was cool too, because like being at the front of the lawn, you get to see everybody in the seats and everybody in the pit going crazy. Yeah, and everybody was just like on it with the chant. Like, oh
yeah,
I like literally getting chills thinking about it.
The next time that I see them, they're coming to Irving, which is like. Houston's like the first regular date of the tour, and then they're going to Irving, which is like in the DFW area. So I'm driving up there, gonna see them with my brother, and we've got lawn tickets, similar type of like venue, and I caught him at that same venue on the Father of the Bride tour, and it's really chill vibes back there. So I like a lawn show. Yeah. Like it's a little less hustle and bustle. You just get to hang out and relax, and then you stand up and have a great time.
Vampire Weekend belongs outdoors, I think.
I agree. Firmly agree. Granted, every time I've seen them has been outdoors, but I feel like it's just very appropriate. Yeah. It's just a vibe. Yeah.
I guess like after, because I'm gonna catch that Irving show, and then I'll see them when they come back to Austin. That one's indoors, so now, if I'm thinking about it, I'll have done 3 outdoor shows and then 3 indoor shows, and so then I'll have to compare and contrast which ones were better.
Nice.
But I think the Eclipse show might sway it into the outdoor show's favor, but that's fine.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments was when Ezra counted 1, 2, 3, 4 before the end of Ice Cream Piano. I felt like really like we're in this now. And it pops in my head every time I play it on the record now.
Ooh, I'll have to. I don't remember that. I'll have to listen back. Like, I think I was just so like stoked.
A lot happened.
A lot happened. I was like, oh my god, this is incredible.
And then Sunflower was incredible, but Cocaine Cowboys, like to be there for the first one.
Yeah,
that was the craziest thing they've ever done.
Monumental.
Yeah.
There was a lot of confusion around me and maybe in other places at the show of like he was like, oh, there's something special in these candy bars, but then they didn't seem to catch it on the cameras, so everyone was like, what is it? And I had
online, to look up on the subreddit.
Someone they had attached $100 bills to like a couple of them or something.
Nice. So and it was funny. I was watching the Coachella stream. I don't know if y'all caught that, but they only put 5s on the back of those apparently.
Oh, really?
Well, I think because of Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. I was like, why is this guy here? I mean,
or maybe just the people that showed up to the Austin show are more special than the people that went to Coachella. I don't know.
I feel like they should have
Not
brought
saying
out...
anything, but
Yeah.
They should have brought out Abe Lincoln first, because I would have been like, what the hell? And then have Paris Hilton. I'd be like, wait, what the hell? Because I was so surprised with Paris Hilton that Abraham Lincoln after was like, not. I was like, okay, yeah, that's normal.
Yeah.
Comparatively. I was like, what
Oh,
what
my
is
word.
happening? Yeah, but that was fun.
They're gonna have to keep escalating their guests.
Yeah, I mean, if you had asked me who I thought they were going to bring out on stage at Coachella, I don't think I ever would have guessed
Yeah.
Paris Hilton.
fingers
but
crossed for Dolly in Nashville.
Yes.
Ezra, if you're listening,
that-
make it
yeah,
happen.
That'd be incredible.
Make it happen.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed all the special guests that they brought out at the Austin
Yeah.
show. I mean, you know, we were all in line during the sound check, so
Yeah.
we kind
Yeah.
of knew ahead of time who was going to be there. But when they were going
Yeah.
through the sound check, and like every time someone would come on stage, I would just turn to like the dudes who were next to me and would be like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like when I was sitting next to my cousin and I was like, dude, I think that's Thomas. Like, what? I was like, no way, because he said they were bringing special guests on TC, but like, that's crazy. And then the Chromeo song started, and I like couldn't place it. And then I heard the voice, and I was like, oh, that's Dave One. Like, what? Who else are we getting? I'm so glad we got to see Brian too, because
Yes.
Brian was like one of my favorite parts of the live show FOTV era. I really wish he had like played on more songs, but the Sunflower, like his Sunflower jams were
Tasty.
tasty.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to the guy when we were in line and they were sound checking the song with Thomas, and this dude walked by and I didn't think he was there for the show. I thought he was just passing by, and he goes, "Oh, is this like Phoenix?" And I go, "No, it's Vampire Weekend." Because I wasn't really paying attention. I was talking to someone, and he was like, "No, I know that, but like, I think this is the lead singer of Phoenix." I was like, "Oh, my bad, dude. I'm sorry." I didn't know. I thought he was just a random guy, and I was like, "No, we're all here for Vampire Weekend." Sorry. Yeah, but yeah, that was cool. Apparently, there was a ton of other just like celebrities in attendance at the show that I don't think I would have recognized at all. Someone said Sofia Coppola was there. I don't know anything about
What?
that.
No way.
Someone said
That's
that.
wild.
I don't know.
Big lost in translation head here.
Isn't she
Okay.
married to Thomas?
Oh yeah, that's
Oh.
right. She is married to Thomas.
I didn't know that. Okay, that would explain.
I forgot about that.
Okay.
So there's
Well,
like another fun synchronicity with like Ezra and Rashida and Thomas and Sofia Coppola. That's a fun little parallel. Yeah, Wallows. Somebody that I talked to, shout out Hunter if you're listening to this, met him at the swap meet, and then he hung out with us on the lawn for a little bit, but he ran into Despot.
Oh yeah, I saw
Nice.
Despot.
Yeah, and then the guy that does Blackbird Spy Plane, which is a fashion newsletter that Ezra has appeared in a couple times, was there.
Yeah, they talked to one of my friends who was there, Isaac. Shout out Isaac. Yeah, he like texted me. He's like, "Yo, I just talked to Blackbird Spy Plane." I'm like, "That's cool."
That's
I haven't
sick.
seen anything that they've put out like referencing them being at the show, but if they do put something out, I'll check it out. Yeah, I was there was like a little rooftop area, and so I had access to that, and I was walking up there, and the whole like Crisis crew was up there, and I was just walking around.
That's sick. That's what your VIP ticket was.
I just
awesome.
spotted them, like they were standing next to the merch booth when I talked to them. I actually recognized Seinfeld 2000 first, which is very funny because most people
Yeah.
don't know what he looks like.
Yeah.
But I saw
It's
it.
very hard to miss.
He's super tall. I knew he was
Yeah.
tall, but like, you know, I don't know.
I was surprised
I'm
they
like,
didn't bring that up on what was it, TC 209, where they were talking
Oh,
about
talking about
being a
everyone's
tall
heights, yeah.
band. Yeah.
Yeah, he was very tall. But yeah, I just walked up to him and I was like, "Hey, are you Seinfeld 2000?" And then he, you know, he like knows my name and like it's a, you know, association
Yeah.
with the wiki. And then yeah, Matt, the producer for Time Crisis, he was like, "Oh, like you should interview her like right now." And then they just like handed him a mic and he's like, "Oh, okay, so we're doing this right now. Oh, all right."
Nice.
But yeah, so they were walking around, right, quizzing people about TC trivia, and then they went up to this rooftop lounge, and I wasn't following them. I just go up there and like exploring the area. But I go up there and I'm walking around, and then I hear like off to my left someone goes, and this is Despot, like introducing him to somebody else. And I turn around and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that is Despot. And then I was like, I don't think I have anything to say to Despot, but it's cool. I was like, cool to see him there.
Yeah.
Ariel was there. I didn't see him, or maybe I did and I just didn't recognize him at the time, but he was around. And I mean, it was fun to meet all the Crisis crew. Shout out to Jake, who still asked what the TC Wiki was, if it was the Wikipedia page or not. Same question he asked back in 2019 when they first mentioned the Wiki on the show. He was like, what does that mean? Classic Jake, very on brand.
Yes.
Super nice. But yeah, I mean, it was cool to meet everybody, and I met Nick and his son Max, which was fun.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Shout out Max.
Yeah. So it's all downhill from here.
It really is.
It
really is.
Nah, just the beginning.
Maybe, yeah. I'm like, I should start doing something. I don't know, more stuff. I could do like more graphs or something. Report. Maybe I could call in and be like, all right, here's like the yearly wrap up for Time Crisis. Here's all your stats. Something.
Yeah.
Get a little
times Diet Coke is mentioned.
Oh my god. Yeah, I've thought
We're
about
up
doing
40% from last season.
But there's so much. Yeah. Someone's like, have you ever calculated how many times they mentioned the Grateful Dead on the show? I'm like, I don't think you understand how much work that would take for me. Like, I don't have transcripts of the episodes. I would just have to listen to the episodes and calculate it all. I'm like, this is like hundreds and hundreds.
That would be a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work already. What I'm doing already is a lot of work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just maybe like a end of the year wrap up. I'm like, here's the top topics. There's something, I don't know.
Yeah, pie chart of time devoted to music versus corporate food history.
Yeah, something like that, or I could do like how many segments of corporate food history did they do?
Yeah.
Repeating guests. I don't know, just brainstorming. I'm like, I gotta get on the show again. Seinfeld said see you soon, so I'm gonna hold him to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What shows can Vampire Weekend fans find you guys at this year?
Oh, well, yeah, so I've said I'll be at Irving and then Austin again in October.
Nice.
Also the Chromeo show when they are coming in Austin. I think that's in June or July or something. I don't know.
Nice.
Sometime. I bought the tickets. I just don't remember when it is.
And I will be at, for certain, the Nashville show at Ascend Amphitheater in October. And then working on maybe going to the doubleheader in Montana in June, because I just can't go that long without Vampire Weekend live shows. So,
I mean, when they're happening, you got to go to them.
Exactly,
yeah. It might be, 5 or 6 years.
Exactly.
Just kidding, guys.
Yeah. Could wait a year, but I couldn't wait 3,
How about you? Which ones are you going to?
Working on Montana. Hope that
Alright.
happens. Chicago.
Yeah.
New York City, and then Nashville. Swap meets at any one I'm at. So, Nashville,
Okay.
me and Alex swap meet
Nice.
in the shadow of the Parthenon.
Yes, it's very fitting. I know it's funny. I was getting my haircut before this, and I go to a place over by like literally right next to Centennial Park, and I was driving past like these like Civil War monuments as classical as playing. I was like, how the cruel of time becomes classical. Like, very very fitting.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like the aesthetic for this whole album cycle. It's interesting.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's it's fun. It's very different from the Father the Bride vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like kind of a combination of like that with like I truly feel like this album is like a kind of varying portions like put in a blender of everything they've done before with some new stuff, because there's like the like sort of like old New York side of like the modern vampires era, but then there's like the kind of like fun wackiness of Contra and Father of the Bride, and then there's like the nods to the stuff on self-titled, and then the new everything else they've done.
Yeah.
It's so like it really feels like nobody else but Vampire could have done this.
Yeah.
Like.
As Ezra said on Vampire Campfires, the perfect fifth album, fourth album was the perfect fourth album.
Yeah.
It is the perfect fifth album.
Yeah.
It is very good. I thought it was interesting. There's like several references to like Russian stuff, and I mean not just Pravda, but they meant there's like Russian icons as phrase in Mary Boone. I thought that was kind of interesting.
And all the Eastern Europe talk in Ice Cream Piano.
Yeah. I minored in Russian, and I did a little bit of like Russian history and stuff. Yeah, it's I don't remember a lot, but it was, it's kind of interesting because it's such a sort of fascinating history to learn about. Lots of interesting events and things. Yeah.
How about that Mary Boone on The Daily Show?
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Yeah.
I loved the choir. I keep singing the like choir bit just like in my apartment over and over.
That was
trying to get the high notes.
That was so good.
Yeah.
It's funny like trying to like pick a favorite song off the album. You're like, oh, I really like this one. I really like this one, and like it's very hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are y'all's favorites? Like if you had to pick one, like gun to your head, I know.
Easy
I just
question.
acknowledge that it's
difficult. Impossible to pick one, but do it right now.
But if you had to.
Yeah.
I think Mary Boone's still my favorite. But Connect, Ice Cream Piano are also up there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You have to pick.
Okay, I'll go with Prep School Gangsters right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, that was what I told them was Prep School Gangsters, which it was funny because like I feel like I got kind of like like oh that's interesting kind of looks from everybody, but like that is such like a
there's only 10, so like know it's not.
Yeah, no, it's not like I said the Surfer, but there's so much Surfer hate around, but
I think it's just it's the least
blow your socks off. Yeah.
Well, no, I think it's kind of slower. It's definitely more like jazzy or loose or experimental or whatever kind of adjectives you want to describe it, which I think doesn't like scream Vampire Weekend to a lot of people. And so if it's not like kind of upbeat or whatever, I think some people are like, I don't know why people like it so much. I think that's just what it is. I don't think people are like, it's a terrible song, but...
Yeah. But it's just like the least like... kind of I don't know,
the dark
special
horse, for sure.
Yeah, it is the dark horse. But no, Prep School Gangsters is like very like quintessential VW. Maybe it's just like they're talking about school. It's like, okay, this is a song off self-titled. But and this is like I'm not bringing this up to like abscond with the bread here, but like coming up with merch like for the new stuff, I feel like has really like because I've had to do like a lot more like close listening to kind of like get a vibe off the song.
It's harder.
I love like I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan. And so like I'm doing a Wes Anderson Rushmore X Prep School Gangsters merch stuff with merch, and it's like so I'm like watching.
I got a sneak peek.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm like watching the movie and like trying to figure out like what stills to use, and I'm like listening to the song, and it's like whoa, like literally what Bill Murray's character says at the beginning of the movie is like the exact message of the song, where it's like, like you guys like that are here at this fancy school that aren't rich, that are here on scholarship, like I think he says take aim at like the rich kids that are just there because that's where everybody in their family has gone, and take them down. Like you can't buy a spine, and I think that was like, okay, like haha, like oh, the song is called Prep School Gangsters, like I bet that'll be a good thing to like do like a Rushmore tie-in with. And then you're listening to it and you're watching the movie and it's like, wow, this is like such weirdly parallel messaging. Like I don't know, that really like made that song like hit home even more for me.
Yeah. That's cool. It's been a while since I've seen the movie, so
Yeah,
I'll
go
have
watch
to-
Rushmore, everyone.
Yeah, that might be my favorite Wes Anderson movie. I like the early ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those have always been my favorite. But yeah, I don't know. I like the song, and I like the falsetto bit in that one. I always sing like the high harmonies and falsettos and stuff like that for songs when I'm like in my car or just alone.
Yeah.
So I like that there's quite a few of those.
Nice.
It's keeping me busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one in Connect also is good.
Yeah, no, because those other 3 songs that you said, dog, like that. It's like if I had to pick between 4, it would be like Prep School Gangsters, Ice Cream Piano, Connect, like those all just like insane moments in them. Like, I just I cannot.
Yeah, Prep School
Listening
Gangsters.
to this album just
Prep School Gangsters is 4 for me after my top 3 for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll go. Yeah, I think those 4 songs are also my top 4.
Yeah.
Nice.
We can agree on a top 4.
All right, we did it, guys. How would you rank the albums, just for you guys personally? This is, no one at us,
Yeah, I don't want hate
everyone
mail.
can have their own opinion, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, I posted my ranking on my story, I think the day it came out or something. Actually, it was before it
Yeah.
even came out, because I listened to the leak, not gonna lie. But somebody DM'd me and they were just like, this is a wild take. It's just like my opinion.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was? Because I know
Yeah.
I do remember seeing it, but I forgot.
Oh,
what
how dare you.
your order was. I'm sorry.
Ogwow, number 1, then Self-Titled, then Father of the Bride, then Modern Vampires, and then Contra. I love Contra. I love
okay.
Contra.
Yes.
Yeah, what about you, Holly?
We love all of these albums. It's not like number 5
Yeah.
is garbage. It's, yeah.
5 great albums in stores now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not a single
Yeah.
one bad.
Yeah. For me, it might be from number 1 going down. So number 1, Agua, and then Modern Vampires, and then I think Father of the Bride, Self-Titled, and then Contra.
Wow.
That's yeah.
Contra
Again,
fans
all
are gonna
good.
kill us.
I know. Please, Contra fans, do not come at any of us. I still love it. It's just, it's, yep.
Yeah, I gotta go Ogwow, Modern Vampires, and then Self-Titled, and then Contra, and Father of the Bride. Which, like, Father of the Bride is still an incredible album. And Contra fans, I will say, Contra does have my favorite vampire B-side in Giant. That is, do you guys
Giant
have a favorite
is amazing.
vampire B-side?
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
Yeah. I think I'd go California English Part 2.
I do like that one. I'm having a hard time remembering other ones, but I do like Giant a lot. I feel like there's one that I like that it would be my favorite, but I can't remember what it is. But anyways,
Arrows, Ottoman, Boston.
Yeah.
oh, that one. Yeah, Boston, or yeah, Ladies of Cambridge,
Ladies of Cambridge.
is
Yeah.
that's my favorite one.
That one slaps.
For when I originally, way back in like 2008 or whatever, put the self-titled album on my iPod, for whatever reason, it like loaded wrong or something. So instead of having M79 as being on the album, it had Ladies of Cambridge. So for the vast majority of like the time I knew about the album, I thought that Ladies of Cambridge was on the album, and I'd never heard M79. And it was only until 2018 where I was like, wait a second, this was a B-side? What do you mean? So that blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah, which I know, I'm sure you have, dog. Ollie, I don't know if you have, but I have not listened to the Japanese B-sides.
I have not. No.
I have. They're on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw that they
Good?
were once, but
Mixed reviews I've heard for Broken Washing
Yeah.
Machine. I like it.
Okay.
And then Acoustic Gen X Cops is great.
oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll
Check 'em
have
out.
to take a listen.
Yeah.
I'll check them out. For Father the Bride B-sides, even though it's a cover, I really like the I Don't Think Much About Her No More.
Yeah, that was great.
one, it's very like vibey. Yeah, so that one, I had never heard the original song before, so when I listened to that, I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then they talked about the original on the latest Time Crisis, which I thought was interesting. Even though he did not mention at all that they had covered the song. And then they were
Yeah.
also talking about Texas songs, and they're like, no one ever mentions Houston in songs. And I was like, you have a song called Houston Dubai.
Come on.
Also a really good B-side. I like that one a lot too.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or
That
Definitely.
one's
bonus
great.
track or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
B-side, bonus track, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I want a live giant. That's what I want. Especially
That would
now
be cool.
that we have a full-time sax player.
Ooh,
you know?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. Give us
Yeah.
a live giant, please.
I like that they mention the Spiral Jetty in that song, which is
Yeah.
I like that they mention just like random stuff sometimes. So
Yeah.
I have to like
Yeah.
Google what
History
it is.
Thrasher magazine.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
all the little like references and Easter eggs and stuff that I get to do some Wikipedia research on is
Yeah.
fun.
A lot of good fits, a lot of good people. I can't wait to meet more people.
Absolutely.
shows.
I had a lot of fun meeting everybody. It was very cool, and it
Yeah.
was a great.
That
ego
was-
boost.
That was the best part, honestly.
For sure.
Like I am not the most like social person, but like after the swap meet, like I was just like revved up, you know. Like I got back in the car with my cousin and I was just talking. I was like, you know, like I don't really like love talking to people, but like I could have talked to those people for like another 2 hours, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's just such a great community and
Yeah.
like it was
Yeah.
just awesome.
To
Just the
have
best
people
vibes.
like listen to me talk like rant about Time Crisis for like
Yes.
you know half an hour and be interested in what I was saying was like very nice to experience because yeah
Absolutely.
every
Nice.
time I'm like with my friends and I'm like oh this on Time Crisis, you know, that show that I listen to, and they're like uh-huh, I have to give them all this context and they're like okay
Yeah.
cool man, like yeah, I would be like, oh, sorry, I'm talking about Time Crisis, and they'd be like, no, like, please, go on. I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
my people.
Yeah. Really excited for to meet more of you in Nashville and to see again maybe a couple people that I've already met and maybe Montana as well.
Thank you so much for joining me on the show. It's great to talk to you again.
Thanks for
having us.
Having us on.
Yeah, hope you'll come back.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
I'd come back.
We'd be
anytime
happy
you want.